Hi, this is Chrissy from hangtodryapplique.com, and I'm here today to present another brief tutorial on how we modify an existing applique design to go ahead and personalize it just a little bit more, maybe change it up and add some fun details, or really just make a design your own. And I'm going to start by showing you one of the most frequently asked questions that we receive is, how in the world are you running your embroidery software on what is very clearly a Mac? Because we use Embird, because I know and I'm familiar with Embird and I've used it for many, many years, I don't want to purchase Embrilliance, but I have heard that it gets great reviews and that it's perfect for those of you who are looking to just manage your embroidery designs on a Mac. For me, it's important that I can digitize and really manipulate these designs, and as I said, I'm just familiar and comfortable with Embird, so I've chosen to purchase and install a program on my Macs called Parallels, and you'll see that open right here. What that does is it provides me with the opportunity to create a virtual Windows-based computer within my Mac. What that means in regular people terms, because I don't really even know what the heck that means, is that it creates kind of an imaginary little Windows computer within my Mac, which is great because all that I use Windows for is Embird. Everything else that I do, I want running through my Mac, but I do want to be able to seamlessly work in some of my design programs that you can see down here, Illustrator or Photoshop. I do want to be able to work seamlessly from those in my Mac operating system. I want to be able to drag those right into Embird without having to shut down my machine and open it up as a Windows only machine. I want to be able to do it all at once. So Parallels allows me to do that. To get started and just kind of to give you an idea of how this runs on a Mac, you'll see along the top of my toolbar here, you'll see these two red parallel lines. And what that does is it allows us access to that virtual Windows machine within our Mac. You click on this and you'll see Windows Start menu. What this is it is the same, it takes the place of the little Start button that you're probably looking at in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You'll see when I press this that it brings up a menu that should be very familiar to you. It's just in a different spot. So I'll go ahead and launch Embird, and you most likely get this same warning message that says Embird is an unknown publisher. We want to go ahead and let that run because we know and trust Embird. So you'll see it launching here, and it brings us directly into Embird Manager. I choose to leave the tip of the day up because it does every once in a while provide me with just a new little nugget of information that I might not have known or remind me of an Embird feature. So go ahead and close that, and you'll see that I've already navigated over here in my right pane to Applique Chick, where I keep my embroidery designs. And you'll see the various designs that I have from Hannah here, and you'll see also that in the top section of this folder, I'll open this up really quick so that you can see it, I already keep my modified train. I've gone ahead and I've gone in and I've deleted the little stuffings on the back of the train so that I can go ahead and add in my own embroidery designs, my own applique designs there. So to start with, you'll want to find the folder that contains your applique design that you're going to be working with. We choose to use the train with the heart from Hannah for a couple of reasons. Mainly, it's a very simple shape. There are not multiple pieces of fabric that combine to make this heart design. It's very easy to find, to isolate, and then to delete the elements that make up the applique heart, which is exactly what we need. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and bring this file into Editor by launching Editor. The very first thing that we need to do is change our hoop size. We like to work with an 8x8 fast frame for the train designs. That would be on the Custom tab, and we would go ahead and enter the dimensions of our frame. Click OK, and you'll see that that has increased our hoop size. At this point, I could go ahead and make my hoop a little bit larger if you'd like it to really fill up your screen, or you can make it smaller. And we'll go ahead and leave it here. Now from here, we want to go ahead and rotate the design to the right so that it runs horizontal with our frame. It's not necessary. You could choose to rotate it at some point down the line, but I just prefer a nice, neat, and orderly frame as I start to work here. Now, in order to find, isolate, and then be able to delete the stitches that make up the applique heart, we need to understand how this design stitches. We need to be able to take a look at how the digitizer ordered the various stitches and kind of how this design is going to play out. In order to do that and to get a file for, to get an idea of how the file is going to run, we'll go ahead and click on Sew Simulator. Let's put this on pause to just give me enough time to explain to you what's going on here. This gives you a virtual rundown of how your machine is going to stitch. If you haven't used this feature, you are missing out. It's one of the very best features for really learning how an applique design is put together, and that's a very important component of learning how to applique well. So let's go ahead and drag this back, the timeline back to the beginning. We can change the amount of stitches that it is showing per second. We can speed it up or slow it down depending on how minute you're wanting to get with your stitches. If you're wanting to locate one stitch, you're going to want to maybe have that on 1 stitch per second so that it's nice and slow and you can really find what you're looking for. We just need a general idea. Hannah's got nice color stops in here for us. We just need to get an idea of the order that this is going to stitch in, and we probably can go ahead and run it at about 100 stitches per minute. Press play. You can change that even as it's running. You can change the speed. So you'll see that it went ahead and it gave us, you might not have seen that. Let's do it one more time. You'll see that it's going to give us a fuchsia placement and an aqua tack down for each of the wheels. And there it goes. Okay, then it's going to go back and it's going to give us a black satin stitch that's encompassing each of those wheels. So that's good. We know that the first element is these back wheels on the car. The second element happens to be our heart. So it went from here to stitching the heart. But again, it's important to know as we're watching this, sometimes digitizers will give you the placement, the tack down, and then they'll move to the next element and give you the next placement and the next tack down, and it just really depends on the particular design. So this has given us a feel for how Hannah has this laid out. We know that it's going to give us a fuchsia placement, an aqua tack down, and that then she directly goes to the satin stitching, and you can confirm that up here along the timeline. Let's go ahead and close out of our Sew Simulator now that we know what we're looking for. This first section of fuchsia, aqua, and black represent the wheels on the train car here. From there it goes to fuchsia, which remember was the placement for our heart. Let's go ahead and right click on it and let's delete the color. And that has removed that section of fuchsia stitching that represented the placement for the heart. The aqua, let's delete that, remember was the tack down for the heart, and then the red represents the satin stitching. Let's go ahead and delete that, and you'll see that we have effectively removed the heart from this design. At this point, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add in an element, whether it be a birthday number or a child's initial. And to do that today, I'm going to go ahead and teach you a trick here in Font Engine, and I hope that I'm not overwhelming you. I went back and forth on whether or not to include this, but I think that it's an important part of how to go ahead and digitize this design. Let's launch Font Engine, and let's go ahead and what you want to look for in order to create an applique initial or an applique number is a nice chunky letter. So I would scroll through here until I found something that's going to be nice and wide. This is a good choice. Okay, go ahead and type in our 3, and then we need to work with the properties of this particular design that we're creating. So we'll click on that. Right off the bat, we know that we're going to want our 3 to be in proportion to our train. So let's go ahead and make that 3 inches high. And you'll see that because we have our keep ratio box checked, the width is going to increase in proportion to the change that we're making to the height. From here we want to choose no fill on the characters, and we want to go ahead and choose applique outline on the stitches. From this point, we would need to adjust our parameters because you'll see that Embird as a default, unless you change your default, is going to give you a width of 2 millimeters, which is far too narrow for most appliques that you'd be interested in doing. Go ahead and right click on these to increase it, and you typically I like mine to be between 3 millimeters and 3.5 millimeters, just depending on the size and the particular project that I'm working on. You want to adjust your pull compensation for your typical cotton t-shirt to a 2, and density is going to be fine at 4. Pull compensation, there's a whole lot of embroidery theory that goes into this. This is something that is probably a little bit more advanced, but a pull compensation of 2 will work for most things that you're wanting to be working with. Go ahead and click OK, and from here click OK again, and you'll see that it has gone ahead and given us our Applique 3 right here. You can see that it's over here in our right object bar, and at this point probably what I would want to do is just go ahead and drag the 3 so that it's stitching before the train, because remember on Hannah's Applique train design, she allows you the option of using rickrack for the embroidery car, for the applique car back here on the train, which is really fun, but we don't want the 3 covering up the rickrack that we've put down. It won't give you a nice clean edge. So we want to go ahead and be sure that the 3 is stitching for us first. From this point, you could change the various colors to be colors that you want to use for your particular design, or you could change the colors at the machine itself. It really just depends on what your particular workflow is. But this is how you modify Applique Chick's train design to go ahead and use a birthday number or an initial for your special little child. And I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you will visit us at www.hangtodryapplique.com and that you'll go ahead and sign up for our mailing list. We do have some really exciting announcements planned over the next few weeks or so, and we hope that you'll join us for that. Thank you and have a great day.